Gene Deal reveals how Diddy infected Kim Porter and tried covering it up. What if everything you thought you knew about Kim Porter's death was a lie? What if her tragic passing wasn't natural, but orchestrated? And what if the man behind the curtain was one of the most powerful figures in music? This isn't a theory from an online forum. It's coming from the man who stood by Diddy's side for years, his former bodyguard, Gene Deal. And what he's saying now? It's beyond disturbing. Stay with me, because once you hear this, you'll never look at this case the same again. The bodyguard speaks out. Imagine working closely with someone for decades, knowing their every move. Then one day you realize you've seen things you can never unsee. That's Gene Deal right now. After years of silence, he's stepping forward, and he's not whispering, he's shouting. Gene says Kim Porter's death was never properly investigated, not by the authorities, not by the media, not by anyone. According to him, when emergency services arrived, two crucial things were missing: her phone and her laptop. Let that sink in. No way to call for help, no record of her final messages, no trace of what she might have been searching or sending. Why would those items vanish from the scene of a sudden death? Why would the people closest to her not demand answers? But Gene isn't trying to sell you fear, he's calling for justice. He's asking what so many of us are thinking: why did this case get closed so quickly? The massage that made no sense. Now here's a detail that made even veteran investigators raise an eyebrow. Gene revealed that Kim was given a full-body massage the night before her death. An hour-long massage while battling severe pneumonia. Let me ask you, who gives someone with inflamed lungs a deep tissue massage? Pneumonia isn't something you rub away. It's a lung infection that can lead to fluid buildup, fever, even respiratory failure. So why was someone putting physical pressure on her body during such a vulnerable time? It doesn't add up. And Gene isn't just pointing out oddities. He's highlighting behavior that defies medical logic. But before your mind races too far, remember, this isn't about jumping to conclusions. It's about noticing the patterns and refusing to ignore what doesn't sit right. Where was the investigation? We trust that when someone passes unexpectedly, their case is handled with care and diligence. But according to Gene, that's not what happened here. He claims no real on-site investigation was conducted. No forensic team digging deep. No second look at the scene. Just a quick ruling: pneumonia. Case closed. Done and dusted. Now think about that. No autopsy concerns. No checking for toxins. No reviewing camera footage or digital records. Gene Deal says what he saw felt rushed, like someone wanted the story buried fast. And when stories are buried too fast, something's usually hiding underneath them. Still, he's not throwing accusations. He's raising a red flag. A very loud, very public one. The gold casket ordered before her death. Here's where things take a darker turn. Gene claims a gold casket was ordered for Kim 2 months before she died. Now pause. Think about that. Not days before, not in the week leading up, but 2 full months in advance. This isn't a premonition. This isn't coincidence. This is planning. This is preparation. And when preparation like that shows up before a sudden, fatal illness, it forces a haunting question. Was someone expecting this to happen? Could this be a breadcrumb pointing to a bigger cover-up? Or just a twisted coincidence that feels too eerie to ignore? Either way, the detail stings. And it deepens the mystery even more. Kim's ex calls for the truth. Gene's not the only one ringing the alarm bells. Kim's former partner, R&B singer Al B, sure, has publicly voiced his doubts about her death too. He said she was perfectly fine, healthy, happy, then suddenly gone. He wants the case reopened. He wants someone to actually look at the evidence that was never reviewed. And he wants justice, not just for himself, but for their son, Quincy, and for the memory of a woman who still means the world to so many. When two men from completely different angles come forward, one an ex, the other a longtime bodyguard, you start to wonder, are these just theories, or is there a truth being hidden in plain sight? And more importantly, why does it feel like no one wants us to look closer? The hidden diary of fear. Imagine if the final thoughts of someone were locked away until they weren't. Kim Porter reportedly kept a diary filled with real fear, notes about feeling unsafe, about shadows closing in. Someone accessed her phone and computer, uncovering entries that hinted at her dread, and those entries disappeared after her death. What does that say? It screams secrecy. Yet, we're not here to stir panic. We're here to unlock the silence. Bruised and whispered. Hospital secrets. Picture this. You're called into a hospital room. You expect calm, but instead find Kim, bruised in places she shouldn't be bruised, visibly shaken. She says she's fine, but the damage is still there, unspoken. And even amid cameras, social workers, and hospital staff, no one asks the obvious follow-up. Why does that feel more than just a damaged moment? It feels like a missing question, one we owe her. Control through pain, the corkscrew tale. The line between love and control is thin. One night, when tensions skyrocketed, Kim reportedly resorted to using a corkscrew to fend off an attack. She slashed his wrist in defense. One injured wrist. A lifetime of questions. Was that the moment that spiraled? Was it pain that birthed addiction? This isn't a love story, it's a struggle. A human impulse to survive against fear. And we need to sit with that. The freak-off tapes. Politicians, preachers, power. Step behind velvet curtains into secret rooms where trust should be sacred, but it's taped. Gene Deal says Diddy recorded freak-off parties filled not just with celebrities, but with politicians, preachers, princes, tapes of things that should have stayed private logged into existence. If power can watch you at your most vulnerable, how many walls are safe? And what lengths would someone go to keep that from seeing daylight? From gecko to Godzilla, a monster emerges. Ever witness someone transform, peel back humanity until a monster stands? Gene Deal says, Diddy was once like the harmless gecko in the gecko insurance ads. Small, harmless. But exposure to industry titans like Andre Harrell, Russell Simmons, Clive Davis turned him into something else entirely. A monster, capable of unchecked aggression, manipulation, and worse. How do you guard against growing darkness? Answering that might be the first step toward clarity. This isn't just another Hollywood tragedy. This is a story with missing pieces, unanswered questions, and voices that refuse to be silenced. Kim Porter deserves more than silence. She deserves clarity. She deserves truth. And as these testimonies grow louder, we have to ask ourselves, what are we ignoring? What have we accepted that we should have questioned? If this story made you pause, if something felt off, then speak up. Drop a comment. Let your voice be part of this conversation. Do you believe Gene Deal? Should the case be reopened? Tap that like button if you think the truth matters. Subscribe if you want more fearless deep dives like this, because we're just getting started. And remember, the truth doesn't hide forever. You just have to look hard enough. Let me know if you'd like to add visuals or quotes next, or want a version tailored for shorts, reels, or dramatic reenactments,